Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed in now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the 111th episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson, and these are Loki's fucking losers. Oh boy, what a fucking episode we got here. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up? What up, boys?
I am so happy to see you here.
I'm so happy to see you here.
Bro, what are the odds that we would see each other here? That's fucking crazy. I am also joined by Miles Buttress. What's up, homie?
How's it going, man? We have the variance with Joseph, so I'm just gonna keep it, simple like I do every week. Happy to be here, man.
Oh, and I'm happy to and you bet I'm happy to have you. I am so happy to have you. We are also joined by KBZ, Kyler Barnett. What is up, homie?
Nothing much. Straight off work, ready to get into this episode.
Straight off work might be an understatement, for we just had a 40-minute Patreon exclusive.
Okay, that's true.
Which came first? Find out more there. I won't. I won't. It's.
I love that we can hold these inside jokes over the normies. We can hold it.
If you're a patron, you've earned access to the inside joke.
It's right now before we take off and blow the fuck up and just go absolutely insane. Yeah, this is nice right now. This intimacy of having these intimate jokes. Jason, what's up, baby?
Jason, you beautiful motherfucker. Thank you for being a patron. A guy named Malcolm, thank you. And Emily, shout out to you. But, Loki, we're talking episode 3, Lamentis, directed by Kate Haran, written by Michael Waldron. This was a fucking nice. This was, for my money, favorite episode so far. Beautiful to look at and just perfectly executed. Miles, let me ask, how'd you feel about the episode?
I don't know if I'd go as far as saying my favorite episode so far, because I don't even know what is my favorite episode, but I think so far, like, it's between 1 and 2 for my favorite.
I get you.
But, I mean, it's like saying, oh, this isn't my favorite episode, but it's still easily probably top 10 episodes we've gotten from Disney in anything so far this year.
And it's actually very, very interesting that you pose that, idea, like top 10 favorite episodes of Disney, because I have had that very idea for a Patreon exclusive conversation amongst the four of us. What are the top 10 episodes we have covered?
I just think Loki so far is knocking it out of the park.
For my money, these first 3 episodes are, I mean, it is the best Marvel series so far.
Okay, well, but the thing about it, this is also probably the biggest character we've have their
also
own TV
true.
show.
Probably.
Also true.
Like, at least, I won't, maybe not even biggest, I'll at least say most, adored. Loki is, he is the just, little
I think this also,
do no wrong, just, everyone adores that.
This also, I think, had the most anticipation coming in.
Well, and I think there's also the wonder, because this is the last show before a Marvel film comes out, right?
Yeah, except for the What If.
Okay, but that doesn't have.
We do get Black Widow ASAP.
Right, but I mean, something that will, because Black Widow, we can assume probably
that was supposed to come out such a long time ago.
Unless the end of it has some implications on something for Phase 4, I'm not going to bank on any Phase 4 implications.
Same.
I guess. I mean, it could do the Captain Marvel thing at the end, but even then.
But you're talking like Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man, Doctor
right.
Strange.
But I think this Loki show has very big potential to have large ramifications on WandaVision, which is not WandaVision, but Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. That's arguably the biggest Marvel film, anticipated wise, in so long. Like, so long. I guess Infinity War and Endgame, but like, whatever. Like, the fact that an early Phase 4 movie is being anticipated just as much as those movies says, like, where we're at, and like, in terms of, like, we don't know where we're headed. Like, we have no clue. So, like, we are just, this show could do some really cool shit by the end of it.
Well, and what I was going to kind of say on that is, like, it's because of the fact that with Thanos gone, we've spent every single Marvel thing that we've talked about since Endgame, in essence, saying, what is the next big bad? And this, like, WandaVision, it kind of felt like, ooh, maybe they're going to introduce a big bad. And then as it got further and further along, we realized, okay, no, they're not going to introduce a big bad. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I felt it was clear very early on that the closest thing we were going to get to the big bad was the power broker, and we obviously
we got introduced to that idea like episode 2.
Yeah, and we knew that they weren't going to be a Marvel, like a Thanos level big bad. With the TVA, this is a potential Thanos level big bad. That's one of those things where you look at it and it's like, man.
Yeah, Joe's right down there. An Avengers level threat, to say the least.
Or I think it just could open the possibility of introducing an Avengers level threat at the minimum, even if it's not just the TVA.
Here's my thing: is that, like, I remember during WandaVision, people were under the impression this is what you need to be watching because it is the groundwork for Phase 4. And while part of that is true, I think that can be said even more for this show so far. In terms of just, like,
I think maybe for us it's easy to say that as well too, just because of Loki's track record. Like, of course it's gonna, like, why would I not expect Loki to go like as far and extravagant as possible to, like, do some devious ass shit? Like, it's not out of his character at all. Almost all of, like, how many times has he done, like, major level fucking bad shit just because it's Loki. Yeah. Like, he's always trying to find his way back into power somehow. So, like, his path doing that through the TVA is, like, just for me a, like, huge red flag. It's like, holy shit, he sees how fucking powerful they could be. He sees what Sylvia's trying to do, and now being like, yo, okay, she's got some vision. Now what if I put my Loki shit into it and let's see what comes out? And that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I was just going to really quick say, I think a lot of that comes from the fact that like with WandaVision, they were fleshing out a character who didn't have a ton of like dedicated story. Loki, we've gotten a ton of dedicated story. So, WandaVision, it became clear this is a character story. Loki, it's not a flesh out the character. It is flesh out the universe.
Right.
I'm with you. Joe, how'd you feel?
Wow. Just a lot of confirmations, a lot of revelations this episode, which were really cool. Whether some of them were just Easter eggs, nods, or maybe something more, is interesting to say. But some were definitely some big reveals that the TVA employees, the postman line.
I don't know that it was you, Miles. I'm fairly certain it was me.
We might have been together on it, but I definitely said
we must have been together on it because I was certain it was me.
Okay, because I've 100% remember saying there's no way lizard people are going to create humans.
Oh, okay. I meant last week whenever we were talking about Mobius's affinity for jet skis.
Well, yeah, and that was whenever we were talking about it.
I explicitly stated that this means that they had lives on Earth.
Yeah.
And that's I think it was like we were both on the same track of you went with that and I went with they said they created us, and it's like why would I not? If I'm a lizard, I'm going to create other lizard people that are just worse than me. I'm not going to create.
But humans. Why humans though? Like, why Earth?
Because there are lots of humans, and they're stupid.
So we are the least advanced species.
I gotta guess that's the statement they're making. Like TVA agents are stormtroopers to them.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like they
or
are.
it could
pretty much
even be
expendable.
something along the lines of like they're the easiest to like get into their minds and like clear that, like they're easier, and especially because like they were taken from the past, so it was probably like technological development. They're at that perfect stage where we can pull them out. They'll know how to use technology, and then they also aren't smart enough to be able to, do anything about it.
Yeah, perhaps.
That's
And
true.
there's enough of them that we can snatch them and no one will know.
Why does the TVA's technology have an era to it? Like, why is it not, kind of like it's? I don't know.
Well, the technology doesn't necessarily have an era to it, but the TVA office itself is extraordinarily 80s in terms of just like the brown. Like that is what everything in the 80s looked like, was wooden. Like it was, everything is a brown wall.
I also just realized we were talking about like maybe it means that humans are the worst. It could also be like, because like she says, and whether or not it's true, that they're all like former variants.
Yeah.
Maybe it could just be the fact that there are just a fuck ton of human variants. Like maybe humans are what caused the majority of issues in the timeline.
Oh my God.
I also want to pose the idea that the place is infinite. We have been in a sect that is clearly focusing on Earth.
Yeah.
There's the distinct possibility that there are variants of every species covering their own people,
Yeah.
It's definitely that.
It's definitely that. It's definitely not, humans are just fucking stupid.
No, it's either humans are just so stupid, or it is that like each species just deals with their own people. Like
it's almost certainly.
So it's like any planet with humans on it is dealt with by humans. It's not just our planet. Like, because Asgard's not Earth.
But I feel like it's probably like a humanoid. Like Asgardians are humans.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's
it's
probably
like,
what it is.
Because they're humanoid.
Yeah, they look like humans. They're getting dealt with by humans because there aren't a ton of Asgardians to work at the TVA. Whereas there are a fuck ton of humans that they could be like, go do some shit with Asgard.
Yeah. So in theory, there is a Skrull sect of the TVA fucking with Skrull time variants. Probably. Man, that's fun to think about. But what do you guys say we jump into an episodic breakdown for this episode of Loki? I didn't have time to take notes, unfortunately. And not so unfortunately. Tacked on to the end of this episode will be an hour-long sect of an interview with not an interview, but more thoughts on Loki between me, Joe, and someone named Aurora Carter, a first-time guest of the pod. So I was very excited to have her. And that'll be included at the end of the episode. But in the meantime, I have a Collider article, which I have referenced in the past. And believe it or not, this very scene-by-scene breakdown that they have written is by the same person who did the one for Falcon and Winter Soldier that I borrowed, Liz Shannon Miller. So I'll be taking from this for purely what happened in the story. All opinions will be our own. Okay? Just want to make that clear.
Obviously.
Y'all ready?
Our opinions are too weird anyway, so I feel
let's just jump into it. Why don't we?
So we open in the memory of, or not in the memory as of yet, but as of what we know at this moment. But we are in a bar with Hunter C20, and she's sipping on margaritas there with who we come to know as Sylvie, and we see this is how Sylvie got the information out of her. This is what made C20 lose her mind, and it seems like it's real from last week was probably in reference to her previous life, right? Like that's what I'm thinking. Like it's like fuck, it's real. Like I and maybe this means that variants have dreams or something.
It reminds me of like when someone would snap out, when Vision would like have somebody snap out of Wanda's, I guess trance or whatever you'd want to call it.
No, I'm with you for sure. But this whole interaction is where, she being Sylvia learns where the elevators are to the timekeepers, and I'm guessing she gets on this elevator and takes it to the top floor, and guess who she's meeting? You know what I'm saying? Because Hunter C20 says she gave away where the timekeepers are, and all she asks for are, how do I find the elevators? Which I thought was like, interesting question, Sylvie. Bold choice.
I would imagine she knew. Like,
what if the elevators
I need to
are
find
all
the elevators because that's how to get to them.
What was that, Kyler?
But what if it's one of those things where it's like just all like what we've talked about? Like, what if the timekeepers are nothing? So it's like, okay, cool, you get the elevator, and then what? It's just a blank room, just darkness. Congrats. Like,
That'd have been pretty wild.
I mean, I don't know. Like you said, Colton, she left a lot to be like a lot of wiggle room for having someone in her complete and utter control. Like, I feel like I'd go for the 100%, like, I have every piece of information I need. Like,
yeah.
Like, even if it's just like, oh, what she got, the elevators, even if it's just like one step after that to get to them, what if that is like, throws a wrench in everything? I mean, I'm just saying that.
Yeah, you never know. You really never know. But nevertheless, by the end of this scene, that Hunter C20 is given away that, the elevators are gold. Good luck. But also, Hunter C20 kind of does wiggle out for a second. She's like, I know this place, but I don't know you. But then, Sylvie re-enchants her, kind of is like, no, you're just tired. And she's like, yeah, I am just tired. And that's ultimately the end of that. Sylvie's like, fuck yeah, here I go. I'm headed to the TVA. So she walks right in. However, she has not been to the TVA before, it appears, because she did not know she can't use her magic. She tried to enchant one of these guys, and it didn't go her way. He turns around and tries to prune her, and she's like, well, fuck all that. I'm a prune you. Kills this guy and several more. Sylvie's a badass. Like, very, very, very cool character.
Well, like, she's just got this combat where it's like, she can be the aggressor or play, like, I don't know. I just love how, like, it's quick and stuff. It just, the fight scenes with her look super nice. They're
offense
super
and defense at the same time, somehow. It's like she's playing the offensive and the defensive role at the same time.
A very talented fighter. Like, I mean, handling Minutemen is no easy thing, I'm guessing. They've got to be relatively good at what they do. I mean, they are controlling time. But she dispatches them quite easily and in great numbers. It's like the Hound versus Lannister soldiers in Game of Thrones. It's just like, you don't stand a chance here. But she ultimately makes it to an elevator, but not until Loki has found his way through that door. And interestingly enough, she happened to not leave this open for Loki. She just happened to leave this door open for way too long. Apparently, she didn't think Loki would follow her. Unless she did. And then it's like, how far ahead is this chick planning? But it's like,
but the door closed right after Loki walked through.
I don't know. She doesn't seem very neat. Like, she actually doesn't, believe it or not. Like, she does seem to have a lot of moments, it seemed like, where it's like the plan just goes way off all of a sudden and she's just like scrambling. And like, I get that's what it is, but like, she doesn't seem as comfortable in that. Like,
well, it's what makes her a Loki. The fact that she doesn't have exactly a plan. It's an outline of a plan. And if it goes wrong, ooh, that might be bad, but we're not going to worry about that until it goes bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of the vibe I get from Sylvie and Loki.
Yeah. She just thinks her plan's through a little bit more than Loki does.
Certainly. I'd agree.
She gets to step 2, whereas Loki just goes, oh, step 1, we're good.
But yeah, Loki finds his way to Sylvie, and he tries to kind of reason with her, but it doesn't go his way. They fight for a minute, but it's ultimately stopped when Judge Renslayer makes an appearance. And Sylvie holds Loki hostage and is like, I'll kill him. And Renslayer's like, fucking do it.
Yeah, I always thought it was funny she thought they would give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because, like, the people, it was really just Mobius that went to bat for Loki. Nobody else really was, like, dying for him to be alive. Like, Mobius just kind of called in a favor. So, I guess she would have no way of knowing that, but...
Oh, yeah, she's under the impression they need this Loki to track down Sylvie, because that's the capacity in which Loki has said he is needed. You know? Like, he's like, I'm just a consultant to bring you in. That's pretty much like the impression she's under. So she thinks his importance is much more than it is. But when Renslayer, lunges for them, Loki says, fuck it, I'm hitting send. And he drops them through a time door to Lamentis 1. Of course, we don't know that yet. They have a little bit of a spat here. Sylvie's ready to say bye-bye to Loki. And, but temp pad's dead. Sorry. I thought that was hilarious. These temp pads can just die. It's like, sorry about that.
For a organization that has as many resources as the TVA does, you wouldn't think that would be a thing.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, but, the shit's dead. It won't work. And, Loki's like, well, it's not my fucking fault. I'm sorry. But then a boulder crashes through the room, and she's like, where the fuck did you drop us? And they find out it is Lamentis 1, and she informs him, this was the worst place you could have taken us. Nobody makes it out of here. Literally no one lives. And I was like, ain't that the point of an apocalypse?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't all of them so that nobody makes it out?
I'm kind of wondering what class of apocalypse this is.
Well, the way she talks about it, it doesn't sound like she has a lot of information in terms of classes of apocalypses. She just knows apocalypse bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they had to go to an apocalypse world so that they couldn't be tracked.
I do think that the reason he dropped them to Lamentis is because it was Sylvie's time pad, and he did a random place in her temp pad.
Yeah.
And she just had nothing but apocalypses loaded into it so that she could jump around.
And she probably had been jumping through apocalypses and decided, man, this is probably the worst one I could, spend time in, because it's, just random fucking stuff falling from the sky, and there's no there's no benefit to being there outside of it's an apocalypse for her.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love this scene where they're running to this. They're running through, and Loki saves her life, and she's like, "You didn't have to do that." And he's like, "You're so weird." I was like, I love that shit.
Have you ever noticed that Loki almost has like the same exact relationship with every person he ever meets? Like,
yeah,
it's always contentious as fuck.
He's always pretentious. He always keeps them at arm's length while kind of trying to endear them, to manipulate them. That's always what he does.
Well, like, it's funny because, like, Sam and Bucky, like, they are so, like, contentious with each other. But then they're with everyone else, never like that. It's literally just those two together.
They ride for each other when they're...
But with Loki, it's the exact opposite. Like, he is so fucking contentious with everyone he meets. Everyone.
But, they called for a truce in that tent. They're like, we got to look for a power source to get them the hell out of Dodge. And, ultimately this leads to them running into a woman who has sadly chosen that this is her end. She's like, I'm not going anywhere, and I think that kind of gets overshadowed in this episode, but it's like, damn, that's actually really sad. But in this encounter, Sylvie tries to use brute force, which doesn't work. And then Loki tries to manipulate her by appearing as her.
I thought that was that was fucked up. That was terrible.
Hi, sweetie.
You
look as beautiful as.
It's
and
funny
she was
what
like,
she said.
She was like, Patrice was a piece of shit. Also love that Patrice is a man's name in 2077.
Yeah, I think it would have been more of like this is a piece of shit move had it worked at all. The fact that she was just like, Patrice was a fucking asshole. He would have never said anything nice like that.
That's what immediately alleviates Loki of blame, is the fact that Patrice sucked.
Yeah.
But, she directs them towards the Ark, the train, she directs them towards the train, which will take them to the Ark. And it's like, all right, let's get to this fucking train. And Loki comes up with a plan for them. He's like, I'll go undercover, I'll sneak you through, and it works for a second until Sylvie has to enchant somebody. And they ultimately squeeze their way on board, but they get a little comfy here. They're like, we get a little bit of a break. And I like the line where Loki's like, I can't sit backwards on a train. Because that's just like a very human thing of Loki. Like, he'll get sick if he sits backward on a train. That's a very real thing that humans go through. So I thought that was hilarious.
Having never been on a train before, I was so confused by this line.
No, I understood. No, I understood what he meant, but like I've never thought about it. I guess every time I've been on a train, I've never paid attention to if I was really going like forwards or backwards, and I've never really let it bother me, I guess.
I understood what he was saying, like I have to like be facing forward, but I didn't understand why that was a thing. I thought it was just like I'm better than you. I want to face forward and I want you to face backwards.
I also thought it's funny. I know that 2 weeks ago on the, or not 2 weeks ago, but 2 Patreon specials ago, me and Joseph briefly touched on Snowpiercer. And then on the last Patreon exclusive, me and Miles briefly touched on Snowpiercer. And funny enough, in this very article, she touches on nothing else but Snowpiercer when in reference to this train. She says that, you know, if Snowpiercer was too subtle on class commentary here for you, this is pretty on the nose with the woman outside the train, you know, being like, they're only letting the rich people on. And it's like,
yeah.
Yeah. And I love that this woman, this extra, acted the shit out of her moments. I'll tell you that.
She stole it. She stole the screen.
She took advantage.
We've been waiting here for hours.
Bro, she's gonna win an award or something.
Bro, she's got to win supporting actress of the year at the fucking Emmys. You know what I'm saying?
She's gonna get an Emmy for it. She's gonna get an Emmy. She's gonna get her own movie.
But I got a question about when they're on this train. In terms of just this initial scene with them sitting down talking to each other. I, for one, don't want them to be in a relationship. However, this had major first date vibes. Did it not?
Oh, yeah.
It did, but I'm kind of with you. I don't really want it. I don't want it. I don't know.
The reason it's not right is because she's a different version of Loki. You know, like, it's like,
I'm not opposed
that's a little
to it.
too.
Although, would it not make sense that the only person that Loki could ever be with would be himself, essentially?
That's what I'm saying. On the surface level, you're
who
like,
would he love
weird.
more than essentially himself?
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't disagree.
You have to admit they have great fucking chemistry.
Yeah. Oh, undeniably. But this is and you know, I was going to say something, but we talked about it later when it was just us and Aurora, so I'll leave it there. But the chemistry they have is palpable. It's like they go really well together. They bounce off each other perfectly. And the way they're talking to each other. Yo, what was your relationship like with your mother? That's a first date question if I've ever heard it. You know what I'm saying? Like, in terms of like TV. Like, it's like TV, it's like, so what was your mother like? Where are you from? Do you have a beau waiting for you back at home? You know, like, it's like these are the sort of things that they ask in TV first dates, you know, and it gave off those vibes for sure. However, it did provide us with some pretty important information about the differences between Sylvie and Loki. Like, for example, that Sylvie never knew Frigga. And I know she is a variant, therefore her life was automatically different. But like, I'm so confused about the multiverse and how the TVA handles it because of this. Like, if it's a sacred timeline, she should have experienced the same shit.
Yeah. Like, I feel like for that to be the case, she had to have been become a variant like super early in her life or something like that.
Okay, then I think for me, then like this makes it super weird. Like, Or it would be super weird if they did have the same experiences. Like, there's no way there could be any romantic.
What if her
at least in my
birth
opinion,
is
if they had lived the
variant?
same experience.
No, and that's the thing, is that, like, I'm afraid that the reason they've given them different backstories is to make them different people so that they can have a relationship.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be my concern.
What if
Can you
the
imagine?
variant-
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine the homecoming if this Loki and Sylvie like became a couple and then met up with Thor? Imagine Thor's reaction to finding out that a Loki is essentially dating another Loki. Do you the whole?
Kidding me?
Yeah, exactly.
What if
Brother.
she's a variant because she was born in the first place? What if her being born in the first place is the reason she is a variant?
Oh
that's
my
why
god!
She never
Oh
had a
my
childhood
god!
or anything.
Like it was like an accident. Like Odin did. Like, could this be like?
Well, that's the thing. The thing that's confusing, though, is that, like, Odin and Frigga are not Loki's parents.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, could it? Okay, then it makes even more sense than if it's like because that they're cruel. If it's the snow elves or the
The ice giants.
Ice
Frost
giants.
giants.
frost giants.
Frost
sorry. No, I
giants.
said snow elves. Like, what the fuck?
The Dark Elves are in Thor Dark World.
Okay. If they're like as cruel as we've seen them to be, like, it's not out of the cards to think that, like, if there was like a baby, like there could be like a baby born not when it wasn't supposed to be. Like, I guess it's I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess, but I don't.
No,
know.
I'm with you though. The idea that Sylvie is, like, her very existence is what makes her a variant is extraordinarily fun. And we have more speculation about who Sylvie is in that later sect of the podcast. But it was also pretty great that here we got confirmation that Loki is bisexual, which is cool, and therefore Sylvie is also bisexual, at least by not correcting Loki.
The transitive property.
Yeah.
The transitive property of Loki. Yeah. Checks out.
But yeah, I liked this little moment. It was very cute, and I appreciated this is one of the biggest characters in the MCU. You know, it's pretty cool to have them being a part of the LGBTQ community. I like that.
So, never mind. Fuck.
Yeah. But fuck. He said, "Never mind. Fuck." But
Wednesday, baby, fuck. Thursday.
These two here, they decide they're going to get their rest in their separate ways that they know how. Sylvie by taking a nap, Loki by getting fucked up, and Sylvie wakes to Loki singing drinking songs with the patrons of this train.
This was hype.
When she sings, come on. When he sings, come on.
It felt very Jack Sparrow-ish to me.
It was
Like,
very.
and I think that adds up like perfectly. Like Loki and Jack Sparrow being synonymous, kind of, in a way, like the character type. Oh, it makes total sense. Certainly.
But I loved this part, especially when Loki downs a drink and just goes, "Another!" and slams it on the ground. That might be my favorite part of the episode.
I might never mind. It was nice. It's a nice little callback. Maybe a single tear went down my face.
Bro, I was like, "Oh, that was so cute."
It was a little nerdgasm moment. You know, you could sum it up in a word.
I really enjoyed when Sylvie woke up and she saw Loki singing and she like waved.
Where is your uniform? Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And he's like, chill, like, it's cool. I'm drunk as fuck, and he sings seemingly to her for a moment in a real soft tone. And then he picks it back up. When she sings, come home. When she sings, come home. But they are quickly after apprehended because Loki's drawing some attention. And, they, of course, Sylvie's plans always end in fights. So naturally this ends in a fight. They go at it for a moment. Loki gets tossed out a window. Sylvie's like, well, first Loki drunkenly threw a knife and missed completely.
Was this on purpose? This kind of felt on purpose, though.
No, that was him being drunk and he missed that bad.
I don't know, man. This felt on purpose. For some reason. I don't know why.
I'm not going to lie to you, Joe. I've never just been this blunt with you. I think you're straight up wrong. The way he looks at it and lines it up and he's like, he's drunk as fuck and then he throws it and then it lands on the other side of his head, on the other side of her head, and she's like, well, nice fucking throw.
Yeah, and the way he reacts after throwing it, where he's like, wait a minute. Where my calculations were off.
No, but I think he's just drunk. You know, he's just drunk and he's not doing right. And the dude comes up on him and he's like, "Really, dude? Like, fucking stop! I'm drunk as fucking beating your ass. Like fuck off." But ultimately, he gets tossed out a window, and Sylvie's like, "The temp pad." And she's like, "I'm gonna jump right out this window after him." And she does. They land, and Loki's like, "Oh," as the train runs off, and she asks, for the temp pad, and he's like, "Okay, here," and it is smashed to smithereens. Now, question: do you feel like this temp pad is actually destroyed, or did he use this as a moment to stall? Like, be like, okay, now she won't be bugging me for this temp pad. I can keep it in my back pocket. It'll be okay.
Yeah, I wonder, okay, so out of the cards to think that it's not even dead then? Because think about it. If it's destroyed, they're not going to keep moving to find a power source, because what are they going to do? Charge a destroyed temp pad? No, they're just going to be like, well, we're fucked now. Might as well go get drunk or have sex or whatever people do who are about to die. So, I'm going to guess that it's probably not even dead, and he's probably just pulling a big fucking fat fuck you prank on your ass. And I want to know what you're up to. I want to know. Yeah, he wants to know what she's up to.
Yeah.
He's trying to get information. Yeah. He's got all the leverage with the fucking temp pad in his back pocket.
Yeah, I'm with the idea that this is his last ploy to get as much information out of Sylvie as he possibly can when she has withdrawn herself to death. She has officially accepted, okay, we're not making it off of Lamentis 1. We're going to die here. And he's going to be like, so what was your plan anyway? Now you can't do it. What's going to happen? And then he's going to be like, ha! And he's going to be like, here's a temp pad, let's go. I expect it'll be something simple like that, because obviously we're not saying bye to Loki and Sylvie at the beginning of this next episode. They make it out somehow. It's just a matter of time.
How crazy would it be if we did say bye to him at the beginning of the next episode?
That would be fucking hilarious. If we just watch the planet get destroyed, they don't make it off, and we're just like, we pick it up with Mobius and we follow him the rest of the season.
No, calling it now.
The rest of the season is them fixing the time.
The end of the season is Mobius. All of a sudden, just you see green just unfold, and it's actually Loki. Joseph,
what if
that would be pretty crazy?
What if Mobius's plan all along was getting Loki to do this to Sylvia, to reveal what Sylvia's plan would be, and then that Loki and Sylvia are in a simulation right now that the TVA is like, they're watching in, and then whenever Loki's like, aha, oh my god, what a plan, and then the TVA is going to be like, aha, thank you, Loki, that's what we were after.
We're going M. Night Shyamalan's Rick and Morty.
It'd be cool, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think Owen Wilson is that smart.
Dude, that'd be epic, though.
But it's Mobius.
Dude, Tom Hiddleston...
more correctly, I don't think Mobius is that smart.
Tom Hiddleston said these next 2 episodes is where it goes crazy.
Stop getting your hopes up. Stop getting your hopes up so bad. Paul Bettany said the same thing.
Okay, but how the fuck are the next 2 episodes where it goes crazy? The first 3 episodes have been nothing but curveball after curveball. And nothing to be, you couldn't have predicted any of this. How could it get crazier than where we're at right now? They're on a fucking planet with another planet colliding into them.
Miles, we saw this with WandaVision. We were saying for the last 4 episodes of WandaVision that they couldn't afford to do any more curveballs and that they had to give us answers, and they never did until the last episode. Look, Loki's going to take this down to the last 10 minutes to give us all the answers.
No, I don't mean curveballs as in curveballs as in we need answers. I mean curveballs as in there's the path that we thought they would take, and it's oh, you thought we would be after Sylvie for a couple episodes? Nope, she's already attacked the entire TVA and brought it to its fucking knees in episode 2. That's fucking crazy. How do you get crazier than that?
You bring up a good point, and if they do it,
It's gonna be great.
Well, that's the thing, is that I'm confident they will, because at this point, there is only one way to make this story satisfying in the end, and it is to get crazier.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There is no simple way out of this that is fine. It is going to be pretty holy shit. Are you kidding me? It's kind of no matter what at this point. Oh my fucking God. I'm sorry. My fucking dog over here is just letting us hear it.
I did not hear a thing.
She wants something to eat.
I have not heard your dog bark one time.
Oh, well, I am. But, these, whenever the temp pad is broken, Sylvie gets real mad and she lets out a scream and a mini explosion with her powers, which was fucking cool.
What was that? What was that?
I don't know. It reminded me of Mysterio when he's about to fly into the fake fire monster in Far From Home, when he he spread his arms out and he quote unquote imbued himself with a ton of power before he ran into the chest of that fucking thing, and he spazzed out and was dish, 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 and then shoved his fist in the air and he flew through. It had the same vibes as that, but on a much smaller scale, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. This was I don't know. I guess it's showing what a normal person going through an emotional, something emotional would do if they had superpowers as well. Instead of just letting out a scream, maybe you let out a power surge, that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
So maybe 100%. It's just as simple as that. It's just,
But I do like that in this moment, Loki feels bad. He's he genuinely feels guilty, and then he goes and sits next to her and he's did the scream help? And she's yeah.
Which that might lend credence to the whole thing that maybe this is all a trick by him, because he feels bad for tricking her to do all this. Whereas if it was actually an accident, he fell on it and it broke, I don't think Loki would feel that bad if it was an accident. But the fact that he's purposefully lying, though, he probably would feel bad and be I guess I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe, but he doesn't comfort her so much, but he sits next to her and talks to her for a second, and he comes up with a plan. He's what if we hijack the Ark? It never had us on it. Maybe it can make it off the planet. And she's all right, that's not a bad idea. And they walk, and Sylvie ends up explaining how her possession power works. So Loki was, no surprises, lying last week whenever he looked at her and told her that enchantment is a amateur trick. He has no idea how to do it. Unless he does, but I don't see why he would be continuously asking, but she explains that with weaker minds, she can reach out, grab their mind, and send them into a fantasy from their memories that'll help her get what she wants. And I like that, along this walk, Loki's I haven't walked this long in a while. Think you could enchant me?
This was funny.
Well, and here's what's also interesting. He has been very, very you will not enchant me up to this point. Do you think he was hoping that the suggestion was so dumb and funny and obviously a joke that she would deny it? Or are we completely wrong about him having bigger plans? Because if she enchants him, finds the temp pad, it's not broken, his plan falls apart. So it's here's my thing is that like I love the idea that Loki is playing a game. I am also worried that we give him too much credit.
Yeah. But it's fair to give him credit because he is Loki.
Oh, absolutely. See, that's the other thing is that he could be playing a sinister game, or he could be a complete dumbass making it up as he goes. Like that is just who Loki is. There is no in between really.
You don't know which Loki you're getting in any situation.
Wow.
But they eventually get to the launch site of the Ark and they see it and the area's in chaos and Loki's like, they're gonna let all these fucking people die. And I thought this was an interesting moment because like this is a genuine moment of compassion from Loki. Like it was like a complete disbelief that innocent people were going to die because someone wouldn't let them on a spaceship, you know? And it is interesting given that, you know, in Thor Ragnarok, he was the one who got the spaceship that evacuated all of Asgard.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about whenever whenever he reads about Ragnarok and he sees that, and I think there's that part where it looks like he's tearing up, and then he just kind of like, you know, acts like, oh, it didn't affect me at all. I think this is like it coming back to him, like the feelings that he felt reading about and like seeing Ragnarok. He's like, this is like all these people are gonna die. Like at least Ragnarok, like some of them made it off. No one's making it off here. They're willingly letting all these people die, and I think that's like knowing what happens to his people. I think that's why it gets to him so much.
Yeah, it is, but like he's a little distraught for a moment, but they're like, all right, let's get to the fucking Ark, and they make a move for it. And dude, this tracking shot of them making their way through the streets, it panning up to the planet falling apart, coming back down on them getting up, running away.
Dude,
bro,
I'm sorry, the effect, like, it reminded me of, like, scenes on Titan.
The effects were not good.
Really? You didn't
the tracking, it was very obvious that they were just running in, like, blue screen or green screen and just, like, running down a straight line and then running back and then running. Like, it was very obvious. Or like they were in the volume or something like that. Like you didn't get that vibe. It kind of took me out of it.
Well, here's the thing is that like for me, it was obvious that that's the case because they didn't build this place.
Yeah.
However, I in the moment I'm more able to suspend belief, I guess, because it didn't bother me. I thought this was very fucking cool.
Yeah.
I loved this whole sequence and especially this one moment where, you know, Loki prevents a building from falling and puts it back together. Pretty interesting, I'd say. It looks an awful lot like the effects we see in Doctor Strange when he reverses time and puts buildings back together. Does Loki have the time stone, I guess is my question.
Let's ask this question first. Does he have that ability without the time stone?
No, I think there's no way. There's no way. So I think it's got to be.
We didn't think he had the ability to just telekinesis stuff to him, but he did in Thor Dark World, apparently, with his daggers. We just didn't think so, but we saw it. Like, what if this is just a thing he can do, you know?
See, and that's the thing. We will either speculate on it, and we will be right, or they will never address this moment again.
Yep,
It could just be he's using telekinesis to put a building back together.
Okay. The only thing that keeps me going on that I think Loki has a time stone, or a stone at least, maybe all of them, is that he is so confident in this situation. He's like, there's nothing.
The way he looked at those stones and knowing that that's been what he's been chasing pretty much this whole time and never gotten away with one clean. You don't think after he saw those and he broke off from Mobius that's not one of the big things he would want to do? Dude, it makes too much sense. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Loki is a fucking downright mischievous fucking like deviant. That dude is gonna do the bad thing every time. If he's presented moral or immoral, or can I do something that will put me in a position of power or could give me power that I did not previously have? The answer is always yes. He has the stone, bro. It's gotta be. Let's call
If
like
he has one, bro, he has all of them.
I
There's
just
no way the dude grabs one.
No, me being this confident probably just means I'm wrong, flat out and simple. But I just feel like with Loki, it's really easy for me to make that jump. It's just like it's right in his character.
Oh, certainly, I'm with you. I'm with you for sure. My only reservation with it, and we address this later on, is like how can Loki hold an Infinity Stone? Is that possible? Have we seen him do that? And second, really, the Infinity Stones again? We're coming back. Didn't we just finish this? That's just my other beef. It's like we just spent 10 years on the Infinity Stones. Let's get something new in here.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't get me wrong. I made this clear to Joseph in the Patreon exclusive. I'd be down for it, and I'm sure they'd do it in a way that I would like and that I'd be okay with. I would just like the opportunity to have a different storyline first.
Here's what I think makes it different, though, is that considering the way they're so insignificant in the TVA context, like in this timeline where the apocalypse is about to happen anyway, and just all of these things add up to where it's making the time stone really, any of the stones for that matter, really just only useful in that just small scale. He's not going to be using that thing as oh, I'm going to reign the world, at least in this specific moment. Having it here isn't for oh, I want to take over the fucking universe. It's oh, I need to get out of fucking Lamentis 1. So having that in his back pocket and snatching it is just in case, to me is believable, and also puts the stones in a context that are way less powerful and way less overpowered than what we've seen in the past. So it makes it kind of different and makes it kind of an interesting, oh, it's almost more just like a crutch, holy shit, gotta fix this really quick in this dire situation. I think that makes it, instead of
though, if you have every stone, you don't use every stone for little things.
He doesn't have every stone though. I could get behind him using one stone and him being able to use one stone. There's no way he could use all of the stones.
If he grabbed one, he grabbed all.
No, because we've seen what the stones on their own would do to anyone.
Yes, but and if he grabbed one, he grabbed all of them. If he grabbed one, he grabbed every single one of them.
And then the other problem here. So, if that be the case, he at least got to Lamentis, and without us ever seeing an Infinity Stone, he hid them. With his presumed power. I guess this could have also been back in the other place, Rocksmart in Alabama. I guess it could have been there, but I don't think he's really left other than that since seeing the Infinity Stones. I mean, he was also in 1985 at the Renaissance Fair. Regardless, at some point, he would have had to, without us seeing, walked through a time door, put the Infinity Stones in that little, hiding them however he does that, like he did with the Tesseract at the end of Ragnarok and into the beginning of the Infinity War. And then the question becomes, can that little space, wherever he puts them when he hides things like that, hold Infinity Stones?
I can believe that. It's magic. It's literally magic.
Yeah, it's magic, but it's at that point, if he can do that and he never has to hold one, and he's just got all the Infinity Stones within him or something,
Tony's suit was able to just wield them.
Don't get me wrong. I'm cool with the idea that they can be wielded like that.
Yeah.
I'm not cool with the idea that Loki can do whatever the fuck he wants forever now.
Yeah, because it killed Tony and almost killed Thor. Or
and
not
then
Thor.
Almost killed Thanos.
Dude, it did almost kill Thanos. A snap did.
Like that's
true.
the point that I'm making is he's not going to grab all of them because like he clearly like went back and watched everything that happened up to, the Avengers fucking around with shit. And so he knows what the Infinity Stones
So
would
you're
do
saying
to someone. He's not going to grab all of them.
Maybe he was smart enough to realize once someone started messing with more than one, they got hurt.
You're going to get fucked.
Yeah. But the only time it's ever been more than one, it's been himself or Thanos.
And it is worth mentioning that the one that he picked up and grabbed at the TVA is the one that the speculation started from, which is the Time Stone.
It's very specific why he picked that up.
If he has one,
yeah.
If he has any, my money's on the Time Stone.
Yeah.
Now, what this does do is potentially bring a Time Stone back into our normal reality, which would give Doctor Strange a purpose again.
Multiple Time Stones, though. 2.
No, because Thanos used the stones to destroy the stones.
But they had to bring it.
That's where the whole thing gets fucking confusing. We've had this conversation every time.
The Time Stone for like the current time is destroyed.
Yeah.
But Loki,
all of them are.
Yeah, all of them.
But
Loki
they're
could
not
potentially
at the same
bring
time.
one back. No,
but they are.
They are. They're at like a subatomic level.
They are. Yes, they are. Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah. So this would be a case where I could get behind them giving the Time Stone to Loki as a way to get it back to Doctor Strange. Because that is
so
Doctor Strange is kind of
in the entire reality.
I mean, let's be honest though. Doctor Strange is with the Time Stone pretty strong. Without the Time Stone, he can do some magic. Dude, he's a worse Wanda.
He barely uses the Time Stone. Whenever he was fighting Thanos, he barely used the Time Stone. That was all just his magic. What are you talking about?
Also true.
Dude, he's everything without the Time Stone.
But I'm saying like right now. Like,
that dude's an OG
right now,
without the Time Stone, bro.
He's still really good, but I'm saying without the Time Stone, he's just a worse Wanda because Wanda's magic is more powerful.
Oh, okay, true. A worse Wanda.
Yeah,
like he's second to Wanda.
Like Wanda's the high tier.
Yeah, he's second to Wanda. But
I'm not saying he's an F tier superhero. I'm saying he's a worse Wanda magic wise. With the Time Stone, he's really strong.
He was standing up to Thanos 1v1 without using the Time Stone. Like, he didn't get a blood drop like Tony, but like still, he was 1v1ing a partially full gauntlet. Like a 3 out of 6 full. Is that what he had at the time that they were 1v1ing?
Yeah, I think so.
3, maybe
Wasn't
4 out of 6?
Because at
the end,
he would have had
reality.
He would have had 4.
4 out of 6.
He got time and then the Mind Stone.
Yeah. So 4 out of 6. Doctor Strange was 1v1ing him 4 out of 6. Like, that's kind of insane.
But was he 1v1ing him?
Yeah.
Well,
Spider-Man, Iron Man, Drax, Mantis, Star-Lord.
No, there was a moment where it was just Doctor Strange and Thanos.
Oh, yeah, and don't get me wrong. Everyone got their 1v1 moment. But I'm saying that because it happened consecutively with other people, Thanos is probably a little bit more overwhelmed than just a 1v1.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, that's fair.
However, you are right. There is a moment for about 10 to 15 seconds where they do go at it 1v1.
I guess my main point is Doctor Strange's power. I'd say 99% of his power that he utilizes is without the Time Stone.
And I would agree with that. But what I was saying was that with the Time Stone, he then becomes a lot more powerful. And a lot of what he does, like where he can then be like, okay, I can go ahead and look and see what could happen and try and lead us down that correct path, which I don't want them to use all the time, but I'm saying like he becomes a really strong superhero with the Time Stone.
What do you really use the Time Stone for? What do you use it for?
That's the thing, is that like Doctor Strange can only use it. He used it for Dormammu, and it's got to be things like that. Like, I think he's got such a like strong respect for the Time Stone that he's not just going to use it whenever he wants. It's
if you could use it whenever you wanted. You can literally only turn back or forward time? Is that literally all you can do?
I think,
what are the abilities of the stone?
I think that Doctor Strange looking into the 14 million, however many, that's a power of the time stone.
I think he gained a strong respect for the time stone from the Ancient One, because she, like, whenever she's dying, she talks about it. She says, like, I use the time stone to look into every single possible future, and every single one of them ended here, and I couldn't figure out why. And I think her doing that made him realize, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to know when the end is for every single possible timeline. So I don't think he's going to, just be like, ooh, let's see what happens if I eat this, piece of toast instead of doing this. And I don't think he's going to do it for super arbitrary things. I think it needs to be a Dormammu, a Thanos, a huge threat.
Okay, I'm just trying to ask the very simple question of, if you wanted to be selfish with the time stone, what can you do with it? What can you do with it? Like,
as far as we know so far, it's turn back time as far and as much as you want, and or
go forward in time,
or go forward. I guess if you want, see, that's the thing, is that, like, at that point, is the time stone in tune with the sacred timeline, or does it just go forward in any random way?
I think it goes forward for, like, I don't think it's like everything can go forward. I think it's like a focus forward. Because, like, we only saw him use the forward part on the apple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it might be like a very focused.
But the thing with I guess he does use the apple. I guess he does rot the apple, and the apple is just sitting there originally. So that is interesting. Is like, but that's the thing, is that the breadth of the power of the time stone? Like, could it, in theory, do what we're saying and just fast forward everything? We don't know.
I mean, it is an Infinity Stone. It can reverse. Well, it only reversed Vision, right?
Well,
and Wanda. Did it reverse everything?
No,
Whenever
because
Thanos,
I think you can either have, like, it reverse, like, a big chunk, or you can, like, focus on, like, I only want these things to be, like, fucked with timeline wise. But
whenever Thanos reversed, Wanda was being reversed, was only Vision's body being reversed?
I think it was Vision's body being reversed, and Wanda was just laying there.
You're right. Yeah.
So she was. Wow.
Because Wanda got knocked on her ass by Thanos after that.
So honestly, it's not even really that powerful of a stone.
Well,
it's just how you use it is how where the power comes.
And exactly. But that's as far as we know. There is a chance we don't know the full breadth of the power of the time stone.
Not just a chance, very likely.
Very likely. Like, and that's probable for all of the Infinity Stones, if we're going to be honest. We saw the breadth of their power when all of them are together, but we didn't see the breadth of the power of any single one.
What did the Soul Stone ever do?
Join the Gauntlet.
Yeah,
kill Gamora and Natasha.
Yeah. What did it ever do?
I couldn't tell you what that single stone does.
Can you tell me a single ability of that stone?
Suck the souls out of the living.
But can you tell? Is that what it does?
No, I have no idea. That's the thing. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Maybe we're not done with the Infinity Stones.
Dude, honestly, they have a lot of material left.
Like, the
Soul Stone is so interesting. That's such an interesting stone. Because it's not like the Time Stone, where in the name you can just guess. It can go forward or backwards in time. What the fuck would a Soul Stone do?
As Colton said, suck the souls from the living.
It's a good question. But I'm gonna move on, because we have, like, literally one last note in this breakdown. It's just that they make it to the Ark and the Ark explodes. Yeah. So my question, does the next episode just kick off with Loki going, well, and then sticking his hand out and reversing the Ark? Like, is that just like how the next episode starts? Wouldn't that be pretty kick-ass?
I don't know if it'd be kick-ass or if I'd kind of hate it.
Oh, come on.
I'd either be like, what the fuck? Oh, no matter what, I'm going to be like, what the fuck?
Overall, I'd enjoy it, but I feel like I'd at least want, like, a moment where, like, even if they do decide we're going to have him reverse it and, them get on the ship and do whatever, I'd want that moment where it looks like, where like, you see them, or at least Sylvie just being like, we're fucking dead. and like get that for at least a moment before he's just like jokes.
Yeah, I would like, or at least a moment where he looks at Sylvie and then like looks back to the Ark, like looks down at himself and is like, fuck, like, is this something I need to do? Because the impression I get, and the reason the line is so important where he goes, they're going to let all these people die, is because Loki is not going to let all these people die. Like, I think that's why that line becomes important if he reverses the Ark and is like, everybody on. You know what I'm saying?
What if he doesn't reverse the Ark? I mean, like, we've seen the Time Stone. If it is the Time Stone, we've seen the Time Stone reverse the destruction of a city and push a fucking extra dimensional being back into its fucking dimension.
True.
What's to prevent him from just being like, all right, planet backwards, and send the planet,
distinct
far enough away.
Like if he just goes back to when, like even to the beginning of this episode. Now they know exactly what they need to do.
I mean, the timeline is so fucked up already that it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they do. Yeah.
Well,
no matter what they do. And
actually this would be like, let's say it is like the temp pad or whatever it's called is broken and they can't get to it. What if this is how they get another one? Loki fucks with the.
They didn't even need to go to an apocalypse time.
No, they didn't need to, but that's all that's programmed into her.
Yeah. Like what I was gonna say though is like, what if this is how they get another one? Like Loki, reverses it, and she's like, "Hey, you fucking idiot!
Just reverse the temp pad."
Well, reverse the temp pad. That makes a lot more sense than what I was gonna say. But what I was gonna say is like, what if they he fucks with the timeline so much that it, they're out fixing the other timelines, and they see a massive spike in variance energy somewhere else, and they then send someone out to come try and fix it.
They just walk out the door.
They jump they jump that person and take the temp pad from them.
Also very easy. So yeah, it's like we got a number of things that can go anyway here. But bottom line is, frankly, I'm clueless, and so are the rest of us. So I'm very
speak for
excited.
yourself.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I have no fucking clue what's going on. I thought WandaVision was bad. Holy shit.
Wait, what's the TVA doing right now?
They're tending to all the branches.
Yeah, probably trying to fix things.
Are they just going to places and just placing reset charges or what?
I'm guessing we'll find out the next episode. I gotta guess that it's beyond that. I'm guessing that by the end of this episode, and actually pretty quickly into this episode, the other branches would have redlined. It's like that was on a quick process. It was not going to get fixed. So my guess is that the TVA is trying their hardest. Maybe they are pruning a very large portion of places. But they won't be able to get it all. That's just the bottom line. They won't be able to get it all. So I'm looking forward to whatever the fuck they've got in store for us.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I just want it now. I wish I could time stone into the next episode. Ooh.
Well, hey, we got. In the meantime, we got Bad Batch Bitches number 9 coming up.
True.
Which is maybe not quite as fun, but boy oh boy is it enjoyable. You know what I'm saying?
It's a
fucking
Friday morning cartoons, man.
It's lovely. It is lovely. But fuck guys, I don't have anything else to say. I'm cashed for this episode, and I cannot wait for episode 4. This was the Penny Bloom podcast. It was Loki's Losers. I was Colton Robertson, and I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, buddy.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Colton.
Oh, it was a pleasure, buddy. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Miles, fucking Buttress.
I mean, anytime, man. Really, anytime.
How about next week even? Next week, maybe?
Couple days, really.
Couple days, really. I might even see you guys this weekend if plans that we've previously kind of mentioned come to fruition. We'll talk that more off mic. I was also joined, well, more than joined, just loved by KB's with Kyler Barnett. How are you, buddy? Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I mean, I'm good. I'm still good.
Good. You've been standing. You've been dancing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting that end of episode, just hype.
It's a fun time. It's a fun time.
Hey,
but...
I mean, okay, I owe it to you guys. Last episode of Loki, I crashed at the end of the episode. So, this episode, I'm getting on my bullshit.
You got to come with the energy here.
I
appreciate it. I appreciate it, buddy. One more time, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Follow us on Twitter at PennyBloomPod, on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you will find an extra 40 minutes of content on the front of this episode, where it's just me and Joe talking Loki, and then the rest of us talking, well, not going to lie to you, logistics of how the podcast is going to work over the next couple weeks. So it's a a good insider for you.
We had some conversations.
We had another conversation that is rather deviant. But you'll just have to go there to find out. Trigger warning, shit. It's a lot of fun. And now on that Patreon, we have 11 hours of exclusive content that's not available anywhere else.
It's insane.
So there's just 11 hours of content in which 4 people have heard. So, whether we're wasting our time or not, I don't know. Fuck it.
But even if we are, who cares? Because it's fun to talk about.
It's fun as fuck, dude. It's one of my favorite parts of the show every week now. And for the record, I want to make something clear about the Patreon. I do not pocket the money. I spend $50 to $60 a month keeping the podcast running. And as of right now, I make a fourth of that on the Patreon. So every month that money goes back into making the podcast run. So if you could support me at all and do that, that'd be great for the listeners, and for us to not just keep the show going, but keeping me financially stable. One last time, it was the Penny Bloom Podcast, and stick around for another hour where me and Joe are joined by Aurora Carter. It is a joy. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. Hello, everybody, and welcome back for a special edition of Loki's Losers, making her inaugural appearance on the Penny Bloom Podcast. I am joined by Aurora Carter. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me. I mean, I was a big fan for a while, so yeah, I feel great being here. I feel like I won a lottery or something.
I appreciate hearing that. You're one of Loki's losers now. You're here. You're a part of the squad.
Yeah, so I'm a variant. I like that.
You are. You are a variant. That's a good way to look at it. But you've been talking to me the last couple of weeks about wanting to be on the show, especially for Loki, and I thought this was a good week for that to happen. Let me know how did you feel about this episode overall?
It made me look at the whole way of the show, the feel of Sylvie as a villain different. It made me kind of like her, and instead of her just being ominous, and we was going to think that it was going to be a later reveal and stuff like that. But I really like her character.
Oh, I love it. Here's my thing is the way they've been painting her so far. She is evil. And obviously we're getting her through the TVA's lens. So obviously they're spilling propaganda onto themselves. Of course they're spewing propaganda onto us. So Sylvie, she has a beef with the TVA. We don't know what it is as of yet. But I do appreciate us getting to know a little bit more of her character and not a softer side of her, but more human. We're not seeing the person who's just murdering and hurting people all over the place. We see someone who has feelings and has a lover and a postman back home. No, I'm just kidding. But It was a really good one. I liked this one a lot, and it was so pretty. Lamentis 1 was a very pretty place. I liked being here.
It was gorgeous. Yes, I loved the whole setting of it. I also liked how she kind of like was like to, like how she treated Loki and how they was conversating with each other, like her just being like, "Oh, I just touched them, and I just do this," and Loki is so fascinated that he was probably
It's mad interesting because like he's very curious about how she's able to do this, and I can't tell because we're dealing with 2012 Loki. Is he genuinely curious and doesn't know how, or is he just trying to like ease her guard a little bit? Be like, you have something superior to me. I don't know. See, I can't.
Yeah, because he had to use the staff with the Mind Stone. So it's like, how do you do that without, me having to go in and mess with their hearts and stuff like that?
Exactly. And another interesting thing is that Sylvie in the comic books is a completely separate character.
Yes.
She's the Enchantress, and the way they are handling this character, making her out to be a version of Loki, and the way she responds to the name Loki, it almost gives me the impression it's something of like a dead name. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like that she's officially not Loki,
Okay, I get what kind of saying, like with people, as trans, like the whole dead name. It's like, oh, I'm not that no more. I'm this, and I could get why she's so aggravated when everyone brings up you're a Loki. Like when he said it, she's just no, I'm not.
She says, "Don't call me that." Like so. I get she writes it off as an alias during this episode. I get the impression it's something a little bit more meaningful to her. That like it's like she very clearly doesn't want to be referred to as Loki, and it's not just because she's trying to keep a cover, like it's because she does not like being called Loki.
Yeah, and okay, are we going to have the conversation organized, or is this like this a free fall?
This one's going to be a free for all because this will go at the end of the episode. So we'll have had a whole like scene by scene thing, and then it'll be your thoughts on top of it all. You know what I'm saying?
I have the fun way of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we get to go wherever we want. That's all.
Okay. So there's one thing I've really noticed about Loki, 2012 Loki in this. You ever notice that he's doing magic a lot more? Like he's actually using magic, like magical blast. Yeah. Like I was like, this is so different.
Well, there's this whole thing, and I'm sure that since this is going to be placed at the end of the episode, I'm going to phrase it like this. As you heard us talking about, it's I get the impression like you saw the way he put that building back up. And that was the one for me that was like, that was weird, because like we've seen him use telekinesis, but not on such a huge level. And the way that this struck me was a little Time Stone-esque. The way it gets put back together, I think he might have snatched one from the TVA and put it in his pocket and was like, fuck it, I'll use this when I need it. So I don't think he's too concerned about dying here on Lamentis, And
Loki, I think this might be, other than Thor Ragnarok, but this Loki might be my favorite, like theatrical depiction of him. Like
me too.
I really feel like, because I thought also with that elevator scene that he had with Thor Ragnarok, that character development, like that speech, I kind of felt like he was also getting that also on the train conversation with Sylvie. Like that. I
agree.
Yes. Like everything that happened.
And I still don't know how they're going to approach this Sylvie and Loki. In the comic books, the character Sylvie, the Enchantress, is head over heels for Loki. Like she is in love with Loki. I don't get that impression that it's going to be either. This encounter they had though did feel very first date-y. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like they sat across from each other and they were like, "So what's your mother like?" and any beaux or anyone back home for you? Like it's like I get the vibe that they're feeling each other out for more than just the general mischievous way that Lokis are. I'm saying.
I feel like also it could go like. I feel like the dynamic that might happen between them two, kind of like what happened between Steve and Natasha, like with Captain America and the Black Widow. Because I think some people can look at it, the first couple ones, and be like, "Oh, they definitely are going to get together." I'm like, "Do you hear shaking?"
No, it might be me.
No, because my ferret is acting up.
Oh,
but
no.
if it ever gets like, if you hear it, then I would just go. Do you hear it?
No, we're chilling. We're chilling.
Okay, good, because I do not want this to be like my first appearance is my noisy ferret. Okay, but like, yeah, the whole Natasha and Steve, like, I feel like they might go like that.
I like more play. I get the impression, and I don't want, as of right now, I don't want Loki and Sylvie to be a couple. Like, I don't want them together. I would like it more in that Steve Natasha route with the a mutual respect that is built on a bit of a flirty thing. It's like they clearly had a little bit of an eye for the other. Like it felt like that bled through on the screen, but I also don't know if that's because they're trying to manipulate each other. You know what I'm saying? Because they are the gods and the god and goddess of mischief. Like that's just who they are. So it's like.
Literally,
you can't take that at face value exactly, because Loki, they both could be lying through their teeth.
Because one thing you also got to realize, I feel like that Sylvie does like a good job at like separating her whole personality. Not to say the other variants of Loki act just like 2012 Loki, but I feel like she does such a good job at separating herself from Loki 2012 that even me and the audience members, they can look at it and be like, I keep forgetting it's supposed to be a variant of Loki. She does a very good job of
that very reason was why I was thinking they might be bridging this into a romance so that it isn't so weird, so that it isn't like Loki's a narcissist or anything like that, so that it's like it's basically a whole other person, because it is a whole other person, so like it is a very interesting line they're about to toe, and I like the subtle differences they made between Sylvie and Loki's character, like how Sylvie never knew Frigga and was never and was vaguely familiar with her frost giant background. It seemed like she didn't really know anything about that. It's hard to gauge exactly what her life was like before she was a variant. She seems like she's been on the run for a very long time.
For a very long time. And also, I really like how you can kind of get that feeling that she was like a lone wolf, like she was rogue for a while. Because let's look at how she took it when the ship blew up at the end, and how she just like she just walked off like
she's been through it. She's kind of like, fuck, this is another dumbass, like after, it also felt like after all this, like I'm gonna die because of this guy. And
she could have just walked off.
Yeah, I gotta think. My impression of it is that Loki probably created the illusion of the temp pad being destroyed. I'm assuming it's fine. Now I think they still need to fall back on a power source somehow. Like that's still a problem in the making. They need to figure out how to get off. I wouldn't be surprised if Agent Mobius came through with like a big last second save for Loki. Not Sylvie, but for Loki.
I wouldn't be either. And Mobius is, but ever since when Sylvie kind of dropped the ball and said all of the TSA members are variants, I'm like,
I'd like to call everyone's attention to last week's episode of the Penny Bloom podcast, in which I said all the TVA agents were taken from Earth, and they were just living normal lives before that. Huh. But
yeah, well, Joe and his omnipotence,
Oh, of course, naturally. But that is huge, and the thing that hinted at that last week was Mobius's affinity for jet skis. The fact that the most random thing from the early 90s spoke to Mobius in such a way. It's like, obviously you have a tie to that, you know? So, and I think that's clearly going to get expanded upon. And I do think we'll end up getting Loki explaining to Mobius, like, yo, you were not created by the Timekeepers. Like, you were a person. You need to break free of this shit. And I think we're going to get kind of a toppling of this empire, sort of the TVA, because they're clearly just, there's something, there's 3 episodes left and we still don't know exactly what the fuck is even going on over there. We just know that it's a sham.
Yes. Do you feel like, because we know how Marvel is, like, do you think that they might do an Iron Man 3 of how they did Mandarin? Like, they would use the look like this the whole time as something else.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really, yeah.
I do. I think this is another comics thing, but Judge Renslayer, the one that Mobius has continuously gone to, in the comic books, her love interest, her lover, is Kang the Conqueror. And Kang the Conqueror manipulates the shit out of time. This, quote, analyst she's keeping on the side from last week, I think it's a good chance it could be him. And I think that if there is something, like, after last week, I was under the impression that she knows far less than she gives off. This week, I think she might actually be running the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm left with the impression that she is so much more important than they've really given her credit to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, to the TVA.
I kind of feel like she is like the top dog in her plot to keep on TVA. Like, she's really, I just realized I said the TSA earlier. But yeah, I kind of feel like she is like running the show, and I kind of like how powerful she is and how snarky she can. I feel like they kind of, what they did for Sylvie was what they wanted to do with Captain Marvel. Like, to have her, like, she is so.
I get you.
Yes, like like, she is so addicting. I could watch a solo movie with her. Like, she is
and
amazing.
Here's my thing: is that, like, I pray that we are left after this show with her as an MCU character, and I have to think we will be. You know, like, I like, she will be in the arsenal and generally pop up for a while. That's at least what I hope, because, you know, we get those everywhere in the MCU. It would be a shocker if this wasn't one of them, because she's astounding. She does, your comparison to her and Captain Marvel is pretty spot on, like what you wanted Captain Marvel to be, because the complaints about Captain Marvel are typically associated with her cockiness and her just lack of being humble in general. You know, she knows she's that shit, and she knows she's gonna fuck on you if she gets the chance. And frankly, good for her. But I think it's more the mystery shrouding this Loki that makes her a little bit more attractive in the eyes of a viewer. Like, it's kind of like we still don't completely understand her. She says that her plot was to just take down the TVA, but she doesn't expressly state that. Loki kind of fills in some gaps. You know, he's like, so you were just going to leave a power vacuum. She doesn't respond to that. She just says, like, yeah, like that was the plan. Hey, Joey! Joseph George making a late appearance here. We're just going to jump. I'm just going to keep going, Joe, and you pick up wherever you feel like you can fit in here. But yeah, the Sylvie's general presence is just chef's kiss. Like, she's my favorite character to watch in this show so far. Besides our main guy Loki, you know, and maybe even more so because she's brand new. I've never seen a character like this before. But I do appreciate the similarities she shares with Loki too. There are multiple moments in this episode where you're kind of like, they clearly share a kinship because they know what the other is thinking in this moment, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? I love the moment when Sylvie asks, like, do you have any princesses waiting at home or perhaps a prince? And she flashes him like a little, like she wags the eyebrows a little bit. She's like, yeah, huh? And I appreciate Loki being like, bit of both. I suspect the same as you. And I was like, hey, confirmation. We've got like, and frankly, this is one of the biggest characters in the MCU. This is pretty cool. Probably a long time coming, to be honest. I have some criticisms of the MCU's handling of Loki's being gender fluid and his being bisexual. Not the bisexual part, but like, if Loki is gender fluid, like, why have we never once gotten a reference to them as them? It's always him. Yeah. I've always thought, and like, obviously, they first appeared in 2012, so it's like that wasn't front of mind then. You know what I'm saying? But like, this Loki gives me the impression that like they've always known who they are. Like, it's like, but they've also never gone to the effort to like be like, that's wrong. Like I
kind of feel like what they're gonna do is that they imply that okay, Loki with his bisexuality, but with there, and I feel like they just gonna leave it like that. Like I just really, it's like, okay, we're gonna give them confirmation, but
yeah, like they'll be like, yeah, he's bi, but we're not gonna see Loki hook up with a dude or fall in love with one.
That's literally not gonna be a thing. Like I feel like this is still too conservative for that.
I guess it's
kind
of hard to reveal that about a character having not revealed it for so long. Like, you have to do it in a way where it doesn't just like you can't really just be outright with it, because it'd be like, well, then it doesn't make sense all this time. So you're kind of like going back and forth. Like, maybe they're going for the right thing, but it's kind of just hard to execute. Like,
it is difficult to execute, but I do appreciate the director Kate Herron's explanation of it. She herself is also bisexual, and ever since she became the helm of this series, it's been her intention to be like, okay, I'm gonna tell y'all, like Loki's bisexual. Like that was top of her list. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what she wanted to do. So there is also the fact that Loki in Norse mythology has always been gender fluid and has always been bisexual generally. Like, there is no reservation of the lovin' for Loki. You know what I'm saying? He's hedonistic. He's here to fuck. You know what I'm saying? He gives me, Aurora, I don't know if you've seen Game of Thrones, but Joe, I know you have, similar vibes to Pedro Pascal's character in Game of Thrones. Like, it's just kind of like, God created this. I think it's sexy. God created this. I think it's sexy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you don't have any reservations here. And I appreciate that about a character and any of the characters that they want to make, either, pansexual, bisexual, or anything. It's always an interesting, notch on a character in my opinion.
I really thought, like, when he came out as bi and stuff like that, I was thinking, my mind immediately, it really went to Ultimate Alliance 1, where all the cutscenes with Loki and he was talking to Dr. Doom. He was so flamboyant that I was just like, okay, like, this is a long time coming. Like, I was just like,
yeah. Well, and here's the thing, is that, like, we don't have to expressly see like, and I don't think we'll ever see Loki, like, truly have a love interest, male or female.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
I think we're kind of out at this point on Loki ever having a love interest. However, I do think this opens up a really easy avenue for him to flirt with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, we haven't really seen him be flirtatious with any guy on screen yet. But now that this has been confirmed, there's a chance you see that some more. And even that is good representation. You know what I'm saying? Like, the casualness of hitting on someone is like, not hitting on someone, but being like, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Like, I'm kind of into you. You know what I'm saying?
So if Sylvie stays, well, I guess Sylvie is the same way. I'm just gonna do Do you think Sylvia's also bi too?
I get the impression, just judging by Loki saying, I suspect the same as you, and her not really replying.
I kind of feel that too. So like, also to see like such a dominant woman figure to also be in the MCU and also can flirt with both. I kind of feel like Sylvia will be more, flirting with like, wow, what's her name? What's the black? Yes.
Yeah, I was on the same page. That's where I've been thinking since they confirmed that. I'm like, Thor: Love and Thunder, we got to get Sylvie and Valkyrie on screen together once, at least.
Yes, I would love to see that. Yes,
and it would. It'd be perfect. I mean, as of the last time we saw Valkyrie, she was named King of Asgard by Thor. And if Loki is supposed to be the other prince king. It's like, yeah, you're ruling Asgard over here, as queen and queen.
How is Asgard? Are they going to build some buildings, or like what are they doing? What do you think? What do you think their plan is?
For that.
Yeah, what do you think their plan is? Like, what's their grand plan? Are they going to build a whole new planet eventually, or like?
I'm thinking they're cool where they're at. Like, I think they're just gonna they're gonna lay low in this little village for as long as they can,
No more Bifrost, no more Odin's armory. There's castles, just chilling.
Can you imagine the reset that these citizens that are still alive have had to go through?
That'd be insane. That would be
living on Asgard, this version of Asgard, with the fucking rainbow bridge and the beautiful golden castles and all the lovely sci-fi architecture. It getting just a sword plummeted through it. Half your people die on a fucking ship, and then 40 of you make it to the city, and you're like, man, our population has decreased quite a bit.
I always felt like the Asgardians or New Asgard will be more stockier, because you got to think about it, they was on a floating disc, and now they on the actual gravity. Like, Earth is going to pull them heavier, so you feel like they kind of ooh, it's taking a lot to walk. It's
true. They feel weighed down.
Is the realm still there? The realm that Asgard is in, one of the 9? That's still...
That area still exists. You can still go there.
It's just empty space.
There. Yeah.
Dang.
That's the impression I get. But it is interesting, though. You still got Jotunheim and all these other places in which there have been... oh, wait. Did Loki destroy Jotunheim? Like in Thor: Dark World?
We don't talk about this movie. We don't talk about it.
I don't know
whatever happened in the movie. We don't know. It's not canon. No.
I think that movie catches a bad rap.
I like all the Thor movies. If you go into it being like, oh, this movie's terrible.
Well, here's the thing is that it is more the mythical Norse stuff than anything else. So that's what people that's what off-put people is the fact that dark elves, fucking dark elves, you know what I'm saying? But it's not that deep. It's just they're another villain. You just have to accept it. And then the whole thing with Jane and the what was that called? The
Ether.
The Ether, yes. I thought that was a dope storyline.
It's a dope-ass storyline, dude.
I think if your perception of the movie at the moment is that it is trash and you haven't watched it in years.
No, that's not my... I'm just playing off the meme.
I'm speaking to the people in general.
Okay, good.
I'm speaking to the people in general. If you at home have not watched this movie in years, and you're settled on the idea that it's a bad movie, give it a rewatch and kind of empty your mind of all your preconceived notions. Just kind of take it in. And I'm not going to tell you it's the best Marvel movie. I'm just saying it's not actually bad.
In that movie, Jane is wearing a shirt that has what looks awfully similar to Miss Minutes. Like, it looks, obviously it's just an orange circle with a face, but
it is uncanny that they kind of repeat the imagery.
Mm-hmm. And it sparks the question is who else in the MCU do we think knows about the TVA, if anyone?
That's
Do you think anyone knows? Do you think Doctor Strange knows?
It would make a lot of sense as the protector of the Time Stone for him to have at least be familiar with them,
right?
But
maybe he's heard of them. Maybe he's heard of them. I don't know. I feel like Doctor Strange would be the closest. I don't know. Nick Fury. Yeah. I think Fury knows. I don't know why. I think Fury just knows for some reason. I feel like he's had some interaction. I don't know what, but he's interacted with them. I don't know.
I feel like Doctor Strange should know because the whole thing that the ancient one said that we protect this reality, and the TVA is supposedly supposed to be also doing that. So wouldn't they kind of be hand in hand, like they would kind of not say work together, but they know of?
Well, especially given the timing of Loki, its placement in the releases here, post WandaVision, pre Doctor Strange 2, pre Spider-Man, No Way Home. It would make sense to me if this was kind of not a direct prequel, but a sort of prelude to what you need going into Doctor Strange 2. It's a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't. This TVA, whoever's controlling it is clearly the problem. Or at least a fucking massive problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's how could they be gone by Doctor Strange 2? You know what I'm saying? I think I think somehow whoever is in charge of the TVA, and the theory for most right now is Kang the Conqueror, that will probably be not the big bad, but potentially a overshadowing bad for Doctor Strange 2.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of thought about something. It kind of makes sense that Doctor Strange would. How else would he be able to tell the different timelines? I know he's using a time stone, but based on what we know how the TVA works,
there's also the idea that Doctor Strange looked at all those realities, and he goes, "Yeah, one of them worked, but all the other ones we may have won, but the TVA came in and said, fuck that."
Reset.
Wait, no. They can't, no one can know about the TVA.
Because if they do know, they get reset.
It's either you're a variant or you be reset, if you knew. Because they're just they're going on of what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's been my notion of who the TVA is, but if there is anybody, it's Doctor Strange.
Did you see in the quantum realm, in one of the Ant-Man movies, there was a city in the background that looked an awful lot like whatever the TVA looked like? It looked an awful lot like the TVA.
No shit.
In the quantum realm, in a bubble, yeah.
Well, now I gotta go fucking rewatch Ant-Man and the Wasp. Thanks.
Dude, because in the terminology they use is when Scott went back in the quantum realm, he thought he was in there for 5 hours, right? But he was actually in there for 5 years or something like that. And he said, yeah, time moves differently in the quantum realm. And then then the mom that was in there, she said that time moves differently in the quantum realm. And then each person in the TVA, they say time moves differently in the TVA. It's the same terminology. It's the same thing. They're just flipping. They're just using it. And it would make sense if the TVA was in the quantum realm, it being this infinite, it appearing to be infinite. I don't know. But I don't know.
Yeah, it would make sense. As of right now, if there is anywhere we would know where this existed, it would be there. You know, like the quantum realm seems more than anything the likely candidate, but the mysteries around the TVA is just still too deep. Like, we don't know anything besides
That's so mysterious.
and we only know one thing, and it's that they lie.
Heavily
lying.
More than Loki. He lied.
Enough to convince Loki.
Yes. One thing, I think I told Joseph, but I feel like my theory is like gone now because now we realize that the TVA seems kind of sinister. But at first I thought with all of like the books and they know everything, one group of people I thought was like the Watchers. I did think of them. And I completely went to like, oh, why to like the Watchers are here. This is what it is. But now I don't see the Watchers as like evil, if though Marvel can switch it up. But
well, there is the perspective that the TVA doesn't necessarily look at themselves as evil. Like even the Watchers, like because they are, and I do believe this. I do believe they're protecting a timeline. That's not a lie. The reason for protecting the timeline might be a lie, and the way they handled it and the way they tell everyone they handled it amongst the employees might be a lie too. Like, it's like, I think the Watchers, if they are involved, and I've seen their name thrown about in theories, and it does make sense. It would just be like, they think they're neutral. You know, like, they believe they're doing not the right thing, but the necessary thing. And in so are actually causing a ton of harm. Which, no, go ahead.
So do we agree that the TVA or the head of the even the workers, I think the workers have this. Do we feel like they all have like a god complex?
Yeah, I think that most of the workers at the TVA are a little cocky. We've seen nothing but that through B-15. Even Agent Mobius is cocky in his own way.
Even the library lady, like how like Loki had to ding it, she just like,
kind of crazy that we got confirmation that like they're all humans from Earth before their job, like they weren't created, or maybe they were created and they're just being plucked in a certain time. I don't know. Maybe that's like the explanation they go with.
Yeah.
I'm under the impression that these people were just people.
You think like they're being, because like then there's some mind control or mind wipe that had to have happened.
I feel like they were just abducted. To be honest.
But like, if they abducted them, like, did they abduct them like from birth, or is it like in their current state?
They know Sylvie talking to one of the TVA scouts, the lady that they was looking for, the one that was kidnapped. How she was in her mind that she had to take her to a place on Earth that she felt comfortable at to get information out of her. In the mind. So that's what Sylvie was doing. So I kind of felt like they were just living normal lives, and something probably made them. Something happened to make them a variant. They had to be a variant though, because Sylvie said they're all variants.
That's true.
And here's the thing, that like, what's interesting is that I think Judge Renslayer knows. She knows the employees of the TVA are not created by timekeepers, because I'm under the impression that now she's pretty much not running shit, but close to it. I think that, Joe, you're thinking hard down there. Go for it. I want to hear you.
What if the TVA did create their employees, but in the way they created them is the timekeepers, whoever they are, made those people variants. In choosing the timeline that they chose, it made whoever, all those citizens become variants, and then they just used the variants as workers. Like they just saw that opportunity is like, hey, these people don't belong in the timeline that we're choosing, so we're just gonna take them and use them, for this.
It is. What I was gonna go with is that I think Renslayer knows that these people were not created because, fuck, I lost my train of thought again. That happened twice. But that's why I let you go earlier, Joe. Fuck.
What were we on about before, though? We were on a good line.
But Joseph, I do like your theory because I always saw it like literally, Joseph. We have like the same theory because I saw it like the main timeline is like a book, and whatever characters they want to take out, instead of like erasing the character and just taking it out, they kind of like they could be my worker. Like instead of just get rid of them, they just like like they making this
I got it back. So the reason Renslayer was so critical of Mobius taking someone out of the timeline and using them is because she's like, nah, that's a little too close to what I know is actually happening. You can't do that because then it like really puts at risk you finding out that you yourself are a variant. You know what I'm saying? Like I think Renslayer fully knows. And I think that the workers at the TVA, none of them know except for her. Like that's it.
But really, how scared that shit will be. That TVA is like endless, and those endless things have like people working there.
So you think Renslayer's the top of the TVA? That's not the Timekeepers.
It's just like close.
Like you think she's second? She's like she doesn't report to anybody.
Well, I hit you with the fact from the comics that really, really swayed this for me is that Renslayer's love interest in comics is Kang the Conqueror.
Oh.
If she's answering to someone, it's Kang the Conqueror. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
I think that's the line of succession, though. You know, like it's Kang, her, TVA. As of right now, from what we've met.
One thing I thought, it was like, what if it's so endless? What if, and I know this is a big reach for me. I just want to say it sounds so fun because I would just be so brain fucked if this happened. What if all of the different what if like all the superheroes and big bads that we do want to see are like being like somewhere in the TVA? Like what if the TVA like released like when Thanos wanted to do his thing, like not saying they released them, but like they was like, okay, I want this story to now happen. Like it's like they have like stored, and it's like now
I like that.
Out. It sounds so fun.
Like it does sound fun. It just sounds like the way that I take that. The thing with the TVA is that I feel like the way they experience time, it's not a linear thing where they could drop someone in. It's like everything's happening all at once.
Okay.
But it would be that doesn't change the fact that whoever set this timeline, whoever made this the sacred one, could have definitely done that. You know, been like, and then put Thanos here, and then put Galactus 10 years in the future, like shit like that.
Question: do you think if Loki, right, and when he saw the stones, say he got one of each, right? Let's say he got one of each, and he has them like, you know how he holds stuff inside of him, but like he doesn't have it, you know, like.
Yeah.
Do you think like he could just hold the stones in him and then use them? That way, can he become a gauntlet in a way just by using like?
It would make it like if there's a way that it works for him, that would have to be how. Because I saw the theory that like, and I even posed the theory earlier to Aurora that, you know, the reason we saw him stop that building and put it back together is the time stone. However, if that's the case, he cannot hold it
in the TVA.
He can't hold it anywhere. Because if they're outside in the real world and he literally holds an Infinity Stone, that shit's going to break him.
No.
Because it happens to everyone.
No.
That when he actually
he's able to hold it. Because he's Loki. If like a human touches it, yeah, they'll go goodbye.
I don't know. I get the impression that Loki couldn't even hold it.
I thought he could.
I feel like that it would, like, he can probably hold it longer than maybe a Tony Stark would, but I feel like it would still, like, burn. Like, the power radiating from it would still hurt.
I don't know though. I'll have to look into that.
Because like the only stones that we've seen that have been held is the Power Stone by the Galaxy Squad, and that one, like if you touched it and you were not Thanos, you were not like a god tier level being, you would die. Ronan could touch it. Okay, no, he couldn't.
He couldn't.
He actually couldn't. No.
Yeah,
Okay,
he had to imbue it in the weapon.
And obviously the Space Stone with Red Skull, and the floor. Dude, we saw that thing just tank through anything it touched, bro. That thing was like, nothing is going to stand in my way. If I am not in a briefcase, why did not go, that I never understood. Never understood. It melts through everything, but not a briefcase or whenever you're holding it or it's on a table. Like, when does it decide to melt through something, you know?
It's like a Mjolnir thing, I guess. You worthy?
I guess.
But the reason I said that is because if there is a way that Loki can hold an Infinity Stone without dying, it is by hiding it while he was at the TVA and leaving. Therefore, not actually holding the stone, but having the stone. You know what I'm saying?
And with the Infinity Stone, I'm sorry, Colton, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but like, how does that even work at that point? Like, then how is that, like, you can just have him never let go of the Infinity Stones.
You can just have it somewhere on him that's not on him.
So, like, then if he enters back into the TVA, does it just drop? Does it just, like, go into his pocket? Does it actually inside of him? You know, the paperweight, just the fake.
Like, oh yeah, he wouldn't have been able to hide it at the TVA. I wasn't even thinking about that.
He can't use his magic in the TVA. Yeah.
Then I don't think there was a way that.
Do you think Loki has a time stone right now?
I want to say yes, because that would be so fucking fun.
His whole attitude was like nothing matters. Like he was so nonchalant about everything. Like so overly cocky that he knew like it doesn't matter. And I truly think because the only way that happens is if this is all a reality, this is the reality stone doing stuff, or this is the time stone doing stuff. That's the only.
I gotta think, if any, the time stone.
Yeah.
I know I threw you the what if Loki has created Lamentis with the reality stone so that he could get more information out of Sylvie. Like that is such a fun theory. However, Sylvie knew where they were. Loki didn't know what Lamentis was, at least as far as we know. You don't think
the reality stone, you think it's only vision? You think it only goes as far as altering vision? You don't think it can alter someone's memories?
Oh, so you're saying like Loki could have just said, make this Lamentis 1, and it would have made it Lamentis 1?
Yeah. Like,
okay. That's fair.
If it's an Infinity Stone, it has that power. It has the power to alter memory too. Like, if it can alter true reality, like it can alter your memory. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe it can't. Maybe that is a limitation.
But isn't the thing that it doesn't alter the truest form of reality? Like no matter whatever is actually happening, you're just seeing a completely different thing? Because like even Drax and Mantis get put back together.
Yeah.
As soon as the reality stone.
I thought they were dead.
I did too.
Like first watch, I'm like, oh my god, are they dead?
I was like, that's how you kill 2 of the characters from Guardians of the Galaxy? Just randomly like that?
I mean, damn, Thanos is powerful, but like, shit.
But not that brings me to this. After the first watch of this episode, at the end, I was like, well, fuck. Like, cause like, you see the thing explode, you see them look up at it, and you're like, all right, what's next? What's your guys' plan? And then they're like, boom, credits, and you're like, fuck.
I still love how Sylvie walked away. I still love it. She's such a mood.
What do you do? I mean, what do you do? Like, unless you're Loki and you know you have a time stone and you could just work all this, like, you're like, fuck. Like, really? I went from almost taking over the entire universe probably to dying on this stupid planet. Like, damn.
See, and that's the thing that gives me the impression that I don't think there's obviously a way out of this. Obviously, Loki and Sylvie don't die here in this apocalypse. That's just not good TV. Plainly, I can always fall back on that if I think something just does, like, it's obviously not going to happen. However, the fun in it is how they get off of this planet. And one way or another, it's either Loki with something as crazy as the Time Stone, where he'll just be like, rewind this shit so they're back in that hut at the beginning, like that they fell into originally. Or, Agent Mobius comes through with like a last minute save. Like, it's kind of like come on, we gotta go. And then, but the thing there is like,
we're seeing some stuff that he's never done before, like the whole weight, just telekinesis thing out of like, we've never seen him do that. Like,
guess where we did see him do it?
Really? When?
Thor: The Dark World.
Ah, damn.
I saw that movie.
And what did he do?
He did that to one of his knives.
Damn it.
Yeah.
But we've definitely never seen him freaking rebuild a building.
That was like, it looked just like the Time Stone effect in Doctor Strange. Like, exactly like it.
Well, okay, so if we're dealing with magic here, if like Loki power, like the basis of it is magic. Because it seems like the whole MCU is going to a magic route right now. Okay, so when I saw it, the first thing my mind went to, it didn't go to the Time Stone. It went to like how Wanda rebuilt her house when she pushed Geraldine through all those different walls. That's what it gave me. That
also makes sense. That is also a very similar situation there. It would, like, that's the thing though, is that like, when it comes to that, that's such precision work to do in 2 seconds, like, in my mind. But I guess if you have the power of magic, that's how you explain it away. Like, it's like,
it's literally magic.
Yeah, it was literally magic. So, I mean, I would love, and there is the chance this is a scene people are latching onto, and it is just Loki using telekinesis. But is chaos magic just a separate? Where does chaos magic come from? What's it so?
The
like,
demon.
Is it the Mind Stone or the Reality Stone? Is it a stone or no?
I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Chthon.
Yeah.
Like
Chthon.
Oh, so it's not a stone. Like, it's
no. It is a being from a very long time ago created chaos magic.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
And so obviously, because that being created chaos magic, they are questioned to be the main antagonist of Doctor Strange 2.
All right.
Yeah, because I'm never really associated. Well, sorry, Joseph. Go ahead.
If Loki has a time stone, he tried to take as many stones as he could. There's no way he just grabbed the time stone.
Yeah.
Right?
Grab multiple ones.
So, does he have all of them right now? Does he have multiples of them right now?
If he has one, like, if he did it, he has at least 3 in my head. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I think if it's one, it's all, bro.
But I also feel like I'm on the fence about it, because 50% of me is like, he has them, but then the other 50 is like, no, because it looked like he kind of gave up on the whole power of the Infinity Stones when he saw the TVA. He was like, is this the greatest power in the universe?
But that could have been a whole cruel ploy. Like,
no, I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like, what if in that moment when he saw all the stones, he was like, wait, if I grab these and I take them outside, do they turn into real Infinity Stones? And then he was like, all disappointed, like, what's it even worth anymore? But he's just testing his theory of, like, if I get these out, are they real? Like, maybe, like, and that's his plan. Is that, like, I am everything Thanos wanted to be in, like, the easiest way possible. Handed to it on a silver platter. Like, literally, there was a platter of Infinity Stones in that drawer. Like, the imagery is right there. Like, it is what Thanos wanted on a platter. And, like, I don't know, maybe this is all part of his plan. Like,
the thing for me is that, I mean, obviously, he could have easily pulled a fast one on Casey. If there's any character in the show he's going to pull a fast one on, it's Casey. If there's anyone he could have stole Infinity Stones in front of and them not know, it's Casey. So, I mean, like, I'm okay with the theory as of now that, like, that's a distinct possibility. I still run into a problem. I just wish we would have had prior imagery of Loki literally holding an Infinity Stone, because that's where it gets rough for me. Because as soon as they get to Lamentis, if he has the Infinity Stones, in theory, they should either kill him or fall on the ground as they burn through him. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless they're just going to be like, actually, Loki can do that, which I don't like. I'm not going to write off. They could do that. But, like, we've never even seen Thor do that. And we get the impression that Thor is the stronger of the two. You know what I'm saying?
And then the thing is about, like, and then the reason why I say, like, Loki probably couldn't hold it, because even when, you know, Thanos probably activated it when it touched Thor, but what if, like, how it was just burning Thor? And then also, do y'all realize that when they had all those Infinity Stones in that dress, and he said a lot of people using them as paperweights, is that like to say like that's how they destroy all those different realities? Like they took the Infinity Stones and other realities like just crumbled because they didn't have it? Like they didn't have them.
That's a distinct possibility. It is interesting though, because like if they remove Infinity Stones from realities, it's not like there's another version of that Infinity Stone existing.
Yeah.
Like you are fucking up the fabric reality.
Yes. And I feel like Loki is so greedy that if he sees, like, you saw like two of the same Infinity Stone in that desk. I feel like Loki would be so greedy to kind of like just take them, like all of them, and just go about somewhere if he were to do something like that. He wouldn't be like, I'm take this one, this one, this one. No, I'm going to take them all just because.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's my thing, though. I want to go back on the statement I just made a second ago about how if you remove one, you fuck with the fabric of reality itself, because Thanos used the stones to destroy the stones and nothing happened. You know, unless what we're seeing is the result of him using the stones to destroy the stones, all the shit falling apart, Wanda being imbued as the Scarlet Witch and stuff.
I guess
and like
it
all
is.
This.
It is.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, what would be a bigger variance energy level event than bringing another Infinity Stone into a reality where that Infinity Stone exists? And if you bring a whole another set of stones, like.
But the way you write that off is the TVA is fucking busy.
Yeah. Seriously.
Like there are time bombs everywhere.
But then, see, I don't think Infinity Stones is even the biggest threat, like, of the MCU. I don't even think it's literally the biggest one because they just have them sitting anywhere. You would think they were such a big threat that it would be, like, in a vault somewhere, like, somewhere.
Do you think it works like that, though? Like, do you think they're duds in the TVA, but in if you take them out, then they become working and real?
I mean, there's that insinuation by people having their powers when they return to reality. You know, like Loki, when he enters the other world, he has his magic. So it's like, in theory, an Infinity Stone should maintain its power.
Does magic not work in the quantum realm? Do we know that?
We have not seen anything like that yet because we've only seen Ant-Man there. So it's like, what magic is he going to do? Besides, you know, close up. Card tricks.
That's really it. Yeah. And what was going to say? Oh my god!
No, that is the problem with the podcast. We start talking, we get going, and you listen to someone for a little too long, and the thought you had a second ago is gone.
There was something I was going to say. Never mind. Okay.
If it comes back, it comes back. Just cut us off anytime. Overall, though, this was probably my favorite episode so far. In part because of the visuals. It was gorgeous to look at. And I love that after like the fucking 5, 6, 7 minute mark, the rest of this 40 minutes is on Lamentis. Like, we do not leave. We are with these two. You do not see anybody else. And I really enjoyed that. It does give me the impression that next episode we are going to see, the episode's going to kick off with the TVA probably responding to the time, like where they are going, what they are doing, how they are trying to stop it. You know what I'm saying? And maybe not. Maybe it's just supposed to be like, you should know. Like, obviously they are scrambling. But regardless, I loved the whole episode taking place on Lamentis 1, and I certainly didn't expect it to end on Lamentis 1, so that was even more jarring. Like, they were like, yeah, we're going to start next episode here too.
I think Tom Hiddleston said that these next 2 episodes are like the 2.
He said that after episode 3, it goes crazy. That, like, he was like, it goes in a completely new direction.
And it would make sense if Loki pops out with stones.
But I don't, for some reason, I kind of, see, that's why I say I'm on the fence about it, because I was like, I kind of feel like the MCU was wanting to take part from the stones.
That's been my reservation the whole time about any theory since Endgame with Infinity Stones.
It's the stones. I keep saying it makes sense to the stones, because I feel like the MCU is like, fuck these stones, we got tired of these colorful Skittles. Let's go to something else.
Or what if Kang shows up? What if he shows up? He's like, no. He's like, you are not allowed. Like, this is way too much. You have way too much power. Like, don't even think.
See,
like, what if we see like the true power of Kang? Like, he just shows up to Loki and just grabs this, like, you could just see him just like telekinetically, like, just grab the stones out of his body, like, just be like, no, and then crush them, just like they're nothing. Like, I don't think we see Kang. There's no way we see Kang the Conqueror next episode.
Well, the guy that is speculated to play Kang, Jonathan Majors, when asked, he was recently asked, he was like, so when does Kang the Conqueror make his first appearance in the MCU? His response, I have no idea what you're talking about. So either he's really good at lying and the MCU finally found someone who's good at it, or we have speculated this thing into oblivion and it is officially another fucking Mephisto. You know what I'm saying?
I knew Mephisto.
Cockroaches, bro. Bro, I swear they're just putting them in here. It's just a fuck you, dude. It's a big middle finger.
Well, and here's the thing too, is that we do get the reference to both Loki and Sylvie as devils in this one. So,
and the Postman.
I think it's clear here that in the first episode, the small child was referring to Sylvie because of the horns on her head. Like, and that's it.
Of them missing as well.
That was interesting. And also did not notice it until the rewatch of this episode. Didn't notice it when she took off her hood at the end of the second. Didn't notice it the entire first watch of this episode. Don't know why. And then I started it again and I was like, oh.
She's kind of like a fallen angel type character. I don't know why, but I get this, because apparently she didn't really have a childhood of what I can grasp, or it wasn't a good childhood.
I would like to know exactly when she became a variant. I get the impression that she might have grown up as a variant, and that's why she wants to destroy the TVA.
Her birth alone, was...
Oh!
Whoa.
She could be a variant because of her complete discarding of being Loki.
Or what if her parents were variants? It's the first child to be born of 2 variants. So, she was just born as a complete variant.
That'd be wild.
If it's a variant of Loki, wouldn't that say,
Yeah, that'd be Variant Odin and variant.
Yeah, Odin.
Probably not. Probably not.
Variant Laffy.
It could make sense. It could have been 10,000 BC Avengers when Odin was
kind of be insane. I guess if that's the thing. Are there infinitely many variants? Like,
I don't think that's has been addressed. Like I don't think.
Does everyone eventually become a variant? Is there every form of variant too?
No, I get the impression that the reason this place is so fucking big and the reason you can employ so many people is because, like, variants happen all the time. Like, the way, and I came back to this after the first episode, the way she says it could just be that you were late to work. The way Miss Minute says it could just be you were late. That means it can literally be any of your actions. If you just happen to do something the wrong way, which I'm going to guess is statistically probable.
I think it's literally their way of saying, like, literally every single second there is a variant. Like, it's just constant branch, like constant. I don't know. It's kind of
like, Colton, what you just said was like you could be late to work. I always wonder if you're not guilty when you face the judge. What if you're not guilty? I don't think they reset you. Like, what if they kind of like take your memory away and they make you a worker? Like, that's what they do.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, no, you don't get reset. It's like what.
Whenever you get pruned, you become an employee. Like, that's how you become.
I had that thought earlier, like you disintegrate and you reintegrate as a TVA agent. But I think I like Aurora's idea a lot. I had not gone that far. What if it is those people with those tiny offenses that they're like, that was so non-substantial. Head over here, buddy. Get a jacket. You know, go sit down at this desk. We'll get you in a little bit. Fuck, guys.
I don't think they know their variants. I'm sorry to cut in, but like.
No, you're cool. I don't think they know their variants either. Obviously, there's a reason there's so much propaganda around the TVA, and it's because it probably doesn't take much for them to realize, oh shit. You know, like they have to replant it into these people every second. It's on every wall. It's in every message they hear. You know, like, we are the TVA. We protect the sacred timeline. You were created by the timekeepers. Like, it's just what they have to believe at this point, almost.
Yeah.
But I've actually got to rewatch this episode one more time and take notes before we get going with the other guys. Aurora, do you have any final thoughts here?
Only thing I wanted to say is that my theory with like them saying like, oh well, your offense is not that bad, so you're just gonna become a TVA agent. Because you think about, I forgot what was the clock lady name. I forgot what her name was. Yes. She has a whole program already set up to teach you stuff. And they're like, did you watch the program? And even more, not Morpheus, Morbius, right?
Mobius. When he was like, did you watch it? So it's like he had to have some recollection that is a program to teach you already to how to be an agent. Like, I just feel like, yeah, that like, that's what I feel about. Like, I really like that theory. And Miss Minutes is a wild entity in and of herself. We still don't have a clue what the fuck she is. Like, because even Loki asked last week, like, what are you? Are you AI? Are you living? And she's like, a bit of both. Like, it's like, what does that mean? What are you? And the way, and like, it's clear that she's sentient and she hears and she spits things back out at us, because when Loki gets there, he's like, what is happening? I shouldn't be here. She's like, you're probably thinking, what is happening? I shouldn't be here. You know, like, it's like, it was like perfectly programmed to say what Loki said. So
or
clearly,
all of this is written too, and it's just like, she's just programmed to know what to say because she knows what's going to happen. Like, even all of this at the TVA is written to happen, like sort of.
I don't think that's the case.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I would hate if they went there. Like that would suck.
I would too.
That would suck.
Joe, was you the one that constantly said that the villain in WandaVision was Ultron?
I do have a weird thing with Ultron. Yeah.
I was going to say Miss Minute could have been Ultron.
He's coming back. Trust me.
Ultron's programming.
I can feel it. I can feel it coming on. He's coming back eventually. I don't know when.
No, I'm going to tell you right now. Kang the Conqueror heard of Ultron down on Earth, was like, I need that guy. I'm going to reprogram him. You're now Miss Minutes. And that's,
Miss
Minutes is Ultron.
Or Kang the Conqueror is Ultron.
Either way.
Ultron was like, I'm just going to fuck around and make a whole timeline, just have what I want to happen.
You know what's so crazy? The whole setup of how the TVA looked when he looked off into the distance remind me of Ultron's like brain when he was looking at all these different things. It kind of reminded me of that,
right?
To be honest. So the TVA is Ultron. It's confirmed,
right?
It's all happening in Ultron's head. That's the
yes,
all of his circuiting is the universe.
Damn.
I love it.
Aurora, I'm definitely gonna make sure that we get you back in for another episode at least. I hope to have you for a recurring guest on the pod for anything that you find interesting, because you provide a very, very great perspective and a very you're good with television. You're good with television.
Yeah.
But yeah, hells yeah. This was the Penny Bloom podcast. It's the 111th episode. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined earlier by Kay Beasy, Kyler Barnett, and Miles Buttress. You already knew that, though. You already listened. I was also joined by Joseph motherfucking George. Thank you very much.
Hey, always glad to be out here. Thank you for supplying the opportunity.
Oh, of course, and I'll talk to you again here in a little bit. Thank you, Aurora Carter, for being here, and I hope to have you back very soon.
Sure. I love it. I love it so much, and I can't wait. Like I said, I was a big fan, so this is great for me. Yes, my celebrity, my idols, my icons. Yes.
We love to hear that, Aurora. We love to hear that. We thank you. And again, can't wait to have you back. One last time, I was Colton Robertson. This was the Penny Bloom podcast. This was Loki's Losers with a new member on the team. Follow on Twitter at Penny Bloom Pod, on Instagram at Penny Bloom Podcast. Give us a 5-star rate and review on Apple Podcasts. That's how we grow. Share us with a friend. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And always praise Keanu Reeves.